No, you gotta let it simmer. It's got a moment where it has to simmer.
That's right.
What made him start again?
I think there were many reasons why he came back, but one of the reasons which he told me was that his kids never saw him perform, and he wanted to perform and for them to see what their dad can do.
Tell me about the last time you saw Michael.
We had all gotten together, the entire family, to celebrate my mom's and dad's anniversary.
Happy memories.
Amazing memories. I remember I had just had a child, and he asked me, was I finished? And I said, no, I'm not done. He said, how many more do you want? And I said, I think I want 2 more. And he said, me too. So he wanted more children. Also, I remember when I said goodbye to him, he said, you're coming to London, right? And I said, I'll be there. And he said, great, I'll see you soon. And that was the last time I spoke to my uncle.
But that tour would never happen.
We have a gentleman here that needs help, and he's not breathing. He's not breathing, and we're trying to pump him, but...
Okay, how old is he?
He's 50 years old, sir.
50?
He's not responding to anything, no, he's not responding to CPR or anything.
Michael Jackson was brought here in full cardiac arrest.
And is now in a coma.
This is hard. My brother, the legendary king of pop, Michael Jackson, passed away on Thursday, June 25th, 2009 at 2:26 p.m.
I was just totally shocked. I got a call from my middle son, Terrell, and he said, Dad, is it true what they're saying on TV? I said, what are they saying? They said they just rushed Uncle Michael off to the hospital to a cardiac arrest. And I said, what? Then Janet called me, and she said, Tito, are you driving? I said, yeah. She said, pull over. Right then I knew, it just...
What did you know? What did you think?
I was going to hear the worst news in the world.
What is expected to be the largest showbiz memorial in Hollywood history, the King of Pop gets a send-off worthy of American royalty.
Held in Los Angeles, it was a global event. An estimated billion people around the world watched the memorial. In Michael's hometown of Gary, Indiana, in theaters like the Apollo, where he had performed, in the White House. I was at the memorial, and it was heart-wrenching.
Daddy has been the best father you could ever imagine. And I just wanted to say I love him so much.
The world mourned, but there were questions about Michael's death.
We know he was taking some prescription medications. The cause of death has been deferred, which means that the medical examiner has ordered additional testing.
He had been given an overdose of a prescription drug he was dependent on, which led to cardiac arrest. Some in his family didn't believe his death was an accident. I talked to his sister, LaToya, who was furious because she thought that Michael's death could have been prevented.
Michael was surrounded by people that positioned themselves in his life, positioned themselves to control and take advantage of him.
He had 8 brothers and sisters. Couldn't anybody help him? Couldn't anybody intervene? Couldn't anybody do anything?
We tried many, many times to intervene, and we were kept away.
All the people who could potentially help him, he'd replaced with sycophants, with yes men. And certainly by the end of his life, he'd found the ultimate yes man, who was Conrad Murray.
Murray was Michael's personal physician. He kept Michael supplied with painkillers and drugs to help him sleep. Murray had injected Michael with the powerful drug propofol so he could sleep, and then failed to monitor him. The DA charged Murray with involuntary manslaughter. The trial lasted less than a month.
We find the defendant, Conrad Robert Murray, guilty of involuntary manslaughter.
Whatever justice the verdict may have brought for Michael's children, a painful transition lay ahead. What are their lives like? What do they do? When we return. Michael Jackson often talked about wanting to be a force for good. And even in death, he has been. His music continues to earn huge amounts. 20% of his estate goes to charities. Certainly, Michael left behind a musical legacy that is vast and indelible. But he also left behind a personal legacy, his children and his family. In 2012, Michael's nephew, TJ, formally joined Michael's mother, Catherine, as co-guardian of his children. Tell me what you had to teach them or what you wanted them to know.
I don't think there's anything I had to teach them because my uncle taught them everything they need to know.
Really?
All the important things. Their core ethics and values are so strong. And there's moments where I just hear my uncle's voice come out of them because their love for people and their innocence.
How do you describe him to the children?
I don't even spend time on my uncle with them as a performer. I just try to make sure that they know their father was one of the greatest fathers. And that's why it's tough for me because he never got to finish his job as a parent.
Now, give me everybody's age. Prince, give me your age, and Lucky, you're going to move down each person.
9, 8, 4.
The children are now grown. Prince is 19, Paris 18, and Blanket 14. They have all felt the loss deeply, and Paris has struggled with depression. What are their lives like? What do they do?
You know, it's pretty normal, which is what I think my uncle would have wanted, and it's something I know they want. Prince is on Dean's list at his university. Paris graduated last year from high school, and BG, which is what we call him.
Good, you don't call him Blanket?
No, for the most part, we call him BG now. He's going to be a freshman in high school, and I couldn't be any more proud of how they're turning out.
The Jackson family continues to make music. Tito has recently recorded his first solo album, Tito Time. The first single off the album, Get It Baby, reached the top 20 in the charts. So now you're going to bring out your own first album?
My very own first album. I've always been the quiet member of the group, so I think it's time for me to just express myself a little bit, Barbara.
TJ also records and performs internationally with his brothers Terrell and Taj. Their band, 3T, was originally mentored by Michael.
You know, it's funny because my brothers and I were doing really well. In our debut album sold 3 million records, and we were traveling with him quite a bit. So we'd see him, sell out stadiums. And even though we were selling out arenas, we felt like we were failing.
I can't imagine what it is like to have a music career, to want a career, and your uncle is Michael Jackson. I mean, how do you live up? You can't live up to that, can you?
You know what? I'm learning you can't.
You can.
You cannot.
You cannot. How would you describe Michael Jackson?
A magician on a stage, the greatest entertainer, in my opinion, the world's ever seen. He was amazing. He was amazing.
For half a century, Michael Jackson's music thrilled and entertained us. Millions loved him for his talent, but that same talent isolated him. He was unique, always seeking to transcend boundaries. And if he seemed to many an enigma to the end, one thing was never in doubt. Michael was about the music, an artist boundless in his ambition and creativity. Questions may linger about this musical genius, but the magic he shared with us is unforgettable. There was never anyone like Michael Jackson. I'm fortunate to have known him and his remarkable family. For Investigation Discovery, I'm Barbara Walters. About paparazzi and things like that. A visitor.
You want me to sign?
Oui.
Autograph?
Autographe? Oui.
Oui.
Quel appelles-tu?
Charles.
Charles.
Charles?
Charles. How do you like my perfect French?
It's good.
Merci.
You're welcome.